Good morning everybody. Welcome to On the Ball. We are live at Facebook. Um, I think we are about to go live. I'm Richard Wee, Rick Wee from Malaysia. Together with me is James White and Julian Jackson. Today's the third episode of the show. This is about three of us having fun. Three of us love sports. I think those who have watched the early two episodes would have heard us saying this. There's three amigos who just love sports. We just love to talk about sports. So we thought, what the hell, we might as well just do a talk show about it. After all, it's hard to meet up with all this lockdown, despite the slightly liberal movement, but we are all still on the lockdown. So we decided to do this show today. For the third episode, we are going to have a discussion on incredible moments in sports, where we will be showing all of you some strange videos of some strange decisions in sports. So morning James, morning Julian, are you there?
Morning,
Yeah.
Rick. Morning, Jules.
Shall we
Morning, Jen. Morning, Rick.
shall we start our show with our infamous music?
Let's do it.
All yours, James. All yours. Hold on,
Not very loud, James.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, James, for that high technological music that we have. The return to the 80s. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've got a few people who's logged on already. Thank you so much for watching in the three amigos having a chat about sports. So before we start our discussion, James, Julian, what have you, is the last 1 week, any news on sports you want to share? James, anything from the States?
Well, I saw the big MLS tournament that's going to be down in Orlando. We talked about it last week, where all the teams are going to go inside the bubble, as they call it, the bubble, where the teams will all stay at Disney World. Unfortunately, I think now six to 10 of the players from the Dallas team, FC Dallas, have come down with Corona, and also I think 4 players from DC United. Some of the teams, I think Toronto team doesn't want to even come right now. So I think the games are supposed to start next week. So let's see what happens there. Let's keep an eye on it, because let's hope that no other players or officials come down with coronavirus. But what do you guys think? If there are people inside the bubble who have contracted the coronavirus, even if it's 1 or 2 teams, should they play? What do you think? Or
Not at all. No, it's mental.
right.
It's
So in
totally-
Europe, have any of the leagues had any cases since they restarted football?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, the minute there has been someone that has caught it, that's in the inner circle, total lockdown of that particular player and the other players, and that was all before it all started. Since it started, I don't think there's been anything, as far as I know. I might be wrong, but if someone in the bubble has caught it, that's mental. That's totally mental. They can't start anything until they're sure that nobody else has got it.
Yeah, and also in the same bubble that the NBA is going to start at the end of the month. So if MLS has it inside the Disney bubble, I mean, granted it's different buildings and things like that, but should the NBA have a similar policy where if one of the players or some of the officials come down with it on any team, they shut things down until it's taken care of?
Yeah, I would personally think so. But hey, look, this is all going to come down to money.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah,
we just before we came on air, and we started talking about the Washington Redskins and a lot of not fuss, but a lot of pressure now to change their name. Been a lot of pressure for years, but only now are the sponsors getting involved, because the whole movement that's happening in the States at the moment. So sponsors get involved, and guess what? The guy who owns the team, was it Snyder or something like that, said, "Never am I going to change the name of the Redskins. Never. It's not even an issue." And you can put it back in block capitals along those lines of what he said. Now he's saying, "Well, we're going to review it," and that's because his main sponsor, or at least one of his main sponsors, FedEx, they're putting a lot of pressure on him. So it's like everything, mate, comes down to money.
Well, if they change theirs, then the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have to change theirs, and the Cleveland Indians are going to have to change theirs. So it's his name.
Or the Chicago Blackhawks or something. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yep. Well,
I mean, we could get really political here, and I've got some views on looking back on things and how we pulling down statues and stuff. But I think we better not.
The other big one, I thought, Julian, you want to mention about Wigan, right? Wigan's going at.
Yeah, I was just looking at some news stories coming off this morning, just to see what I might have missed this week. Been fairly busy, but Wigan went into administration, which on the surface we can all see. Oh well, coronavirus has happened. The revenues have gone down, and actually Wigan have got a very high player cost to turnover ratio. In fact, I think they spend more on players than they make in revenue, and that's wages and stuff. So these things we've known for a long while, and on the surface you think, coronavirus has caused this. Actually, there's some dodgy dealings behind the scenes. Only 4 weeks ago, they changed hands and ownership.
But exactly. They got a new owner. Wigan got a new owner.
Yeah. So they had a Hong Kong owner, I think, Dave Whelan, who originally owned it for ages, the guy that started JJB Sports. It's called the DW Stadium, was where they play. He was their big benefactor for years. And what happened was he sold it to a Hong Kong company who have now sold it to another Hong Kong company. And strange enough, it's gone into administration 4 weeks later. Yeah. So I don't know the full details there. I think there's an article on the BBC website, which I haven't read completely. But one would say that it's something is very fishy going on there.
Are there rules? Did the league look into who you sell your team to, or is it totally up to you?
Very much so. Yeah, very much.
There's a rule.
But I think you find that those rules are quite easy to get around by the sounds of things.
Yeah, because the rule was at the point of purchase. Yeah.
So what happens to Wigan then? Are they going?
What will happen is they'll get a 12-point deduction either this season or next season, depending on various issues, I think. They'll be put into administration, and their creditors will get shafted, basically. Their creditors will get shafted. They'll be back. They'll be back.
On the field, do they continue to play? Do their opponents get walkover victories?
No, they will get a 12-point deduction.
Yeah.
Okay, and they continue to play
either this or next season. And I don't know what the criteria of it's this or next season, but they will get a 12-point deduction. Their creditors will get shafted, and we'll see them in the league next year. I'm pretty certain of it.
Just earlier in the season, there's another club, right? Barry, or is it called Bury?
Yeah, Bury.
Yeah. Bury. Yeah. They went down. So it's poor management, and let's hope it doesn't get worse. Not just there, but even here in Malaysia.
I suspect. I mean, some of the lower league clubs, not just in England, I think around the globe, we're going to start to see having some real issues.
And I'll tell you, the club,
they already have.
The third best club in Minnesota. I can't even point it.
Wrong breast, James.
Minnesota United. I would say they're at least the second or third best team in Minnesota after the University of Minnesota and maybe one or two of the high school teams. But they're never going to go bankrupt. They're supported by Target, one of the biggest retailers in the world. All the players run around with a Target on their chest, which is another issue. But at least they're strongly supported.
Yeah. So and on a lighter note, I want to share with you guys. I think Julian will know this. Everton released a new kit, new jersey by Hummel, who many people think is a Danish company. It is now, but it used to be a German company, Hummel. And
those little figurines, those little cute little figurines.
They are Hummels are bees. In German, they're bees.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hummel
So this one, they have this. They are famous for their chevrons. They call it. Yeah. So got quite a nice, safe design. They designed. Yeah.
You got a picture of it? You got a picture of it, Rick?
Well, I think I do. Let me try and share it here. Not really a picture,
Hang on,
but
huh?
hold on. It's coming soon. There you go. This is the kit. Yeah, so it's quite nice, clean, and I think they played safe. They didn't want to upset the Everton fans, so they went safe and clean.
What kind
But
of
we'll see.
what kind of betting company is Kazoo?
Oh, they're not a betting
actually,
company. They're not.
What?
They sell cars. It's basically it's funny, interesting. It's a new concept whereby you buy the car online and they deliver it to you. If you don't like it in the first 7 days, you can send it back full refund. So they have all these checks and everything. They do it with all sorts of things these days, don't they? Like secondhand goods, like watches, and luxury goods. You buy. So basically, you buy cars without seeing them, and they deliver it to you. You don't even have to leave your front room until you take delivery of your car.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In the States, it's called CarMart. We've had that for.
That's right. Yeah, you've had it for a while, haven't you?
The thing it does is it used to only be able to buy cars in your area because, of course, no one's going to drive a car 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
But now they do it. Now they'll literally ship the car. So you can buy cars anywhere in the country from the comfort of your home. And whereas before it used to be only limited to your neighborhood. So I think
are they successful in the States, Jim? I presume they must be. Or are they successful in the States? The people literally buy. Because I can't even imagine buying a car without sitting in there, driving it, seeing what it's like, that type of stuff.
I think they have that, similar policy where you can have it for a week, and so I think with that assurance, people do. It has been successful.
I suppose I could do. Yeah.
Once you get in, as you know, once you get in a car or something that you've made a decision, once you try on something, you're very, very unlikely to give it back.
Sure. Unless it sucks.
Well, it seems Kazoo is quite cash rich. They seem to be one of the rising stars among the startups. And the owner of the company is a serial entrepreneur. And you know what, Julian? They just agreed to sponsor Aston Villa too.
Really?
They will appear on Aston Villa's shirt. I saw it on LinkedIn a few days ago. They announced it on the net. Okay. Interesting. But for once, it's not a betting company. But I miss this, NEC. This was the time when we were sponsored by NEC. Nice.
Yeah, that was a sponsor people had actually heard of at the time. In fact, probably not even that many people had heard of, because it was not one of the biggest names in Japan.
Now they are. So that sponsorship was the main reason why they're globally known.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we have lined up. We had a major discussion on our WhatsApp group. Julian and James nearly had a cyber fight. They were throwing one at each other. I had to go in and stop these two. They always need an
you were quiet. No one heard from you while James and I were arguing.
I was saying, hold on now. So these two quite low. They always require a Chinaman to go in and stop the fight. I tell you. So, but anyway, it was such an interesting debate on WhatsApp. We can't wait to show you what we feel is the WTF moments of sports. It's some of the moments we've seen, decisions we've seen is incredible. We'll start with you, Julian. You line up two interesting things you want to share with us. Which one was it?
Thing. All right, let's look at the let's look at Suarez.
Suarez. Okay, let me look at Suarez.
Let's look at Suarez.
Ready for you, Suarez.
So
is it this one?
What we're talking about here is Luis Suarez, who basically, what the hell was he thinking? He didn't do it once. He didn't do it twice. He did it 3 times. What we're seeing on screen now, he bites a Dutch player. I can't remember his name. Otman Bakov. So he bites him on the shoulder. So there you go. You get 7 months. Go back a bit, James. Rick.
Yep.
Let's go back to that text. Yeah, 7-match ban. So he gets a 7-match ban for that. So you think you're going to bite someone, you get 7-match ban. You know what? I better not do that again. So fast forward it a little bit, Rick.
Yep.
So then few years later, he's playing for Liverpool against Chelsea. What the hell do you think? Look at that. He's sinking his teeth in there. So okay, so he basically, he's done it once. Now he does it twice. And during his time at Liverpool, there was lots of different controversies about the guy, where he's got a racist spat with Patrice Evra. So he gets 10-match ban for biting Ivanovic. 10-match ban. That's a huge amount. And I'm sure he's got fined and everything. You don't get paid for that time when you got a ban like that. So there you go. You've had a 7-match ban. You've had a 10-match ban. And then a year later, what do? World Cup, biggest stage in the year of your life. Chance of Uruguay going through, which actually they did, and they sent Italy out. Well, what does he do? He goes and nuts him and bites him, and then pretends he got hurt himself. He bites people 3 times. So there you go. Bites him on the shoulder, and you'll see Chiellini, the Italian defender. Look! Someone's bitten me. Look at that! He fucking bit me. So it's absolutely crazy. What goes through the guy's mind? I have no idea. He's obviously got a couple of screws loose in what certainly when he's playing. I'm sure he's a very sane guy in normal society. But stick a football shirt on a pair of football boots, and he just turns into a crazy man. I mean, the guy's supremely talented. I mean, let's not hide from the fact that he's an amazing footballer. You don't play for Ajax and Barcelona and not be one of the best footballers in the world. But I mean, that's what the F.
So he's still playing, right? Playing.
Yeah, he's still at Barcelona, doing well.
So for the last 6 years, has he bitten anyone in the last 6 years?
In Barcelona, no.
Luckily, no. I mean, he's probably had a few little scrapes here and there. He's known for diving. He's known for obviously learned a lot about Liverpool. Known for diving and known for being.
He's had some work done then, maybe. He had some work done.
Yes, possibly.
Fighting.
So yeah, that's something that I can remember seeing it. I didn't see the Ajax game. Obviously, that was before he became famous to people outside of Holland. I saw the Ivanovic game, and I think, what the hell was he thinking? And then just only a year later, did he go and bites Chiellini
on the World
Cup.
Yeah,
that was a real what the heck? Yeah, it was mental.
Julian, in the English press, I'm just going slightly off tangent for a short while. In the English press, I noticed this. Whenever there is something, can you hear me? Yeah. Hold on. So whenever there's something a player did badly or something bad, and that player happened to be an Everton player or Everton supporter 25 years ago, the news will go saying something like Mr. X, formerly of Everton in 1984, even though he played for 25 other clubs, and then highlight the bad thing. Yeah, but that's I noticed nobody ever mentioned Luis Suarez, a former Liverpool player.
You know why? There's a very good reason for this. It's a very good reason. And that's why you've seen too many articles about Liverpool and how Liverpool are so wonderful. The reason being, there's so many Liverpool supporters in the British press.
Yeah.
Liverpool supporters everywhere, obviously. But in the British press, huge amount of Liverpool supporters, and so there's a huge Liverpool bias. So when you saw the Liverpool fans celebrating in front of the Liver building in Liverpool and setting it on fire with fireworks and what have you, you didn't see anything about the fact that Everton own the Liver building.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. It was just just hijinks and what have you. No. It was a bunch of thugs. That's what it was. That's what it was. But there's a famous phrase for Liverpoolians, and I'm sure hopefully I'll get some stick for this. Is offended by everything, ashamed by nothing.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, notice that. But then, of course, my friends here, who are all Liverpool fans, will be upset for us saying this, But the truth is painful, sometimes. But anyway, congratulations for winning the league. The team is good. The manager is good. The fans.
The manager's likable, actually. I'll give him
Yeah.
that. He's a very likable guy.
So Luis Suarez, who's now in Barcelona, former Liverpool player, former. Can I emphasize that former Liverpool player had beaten these three occasions, of which out of three occasions, twice he beat as a former then Liverpool player. Yeah, and he also had a racist spat with Patrice Evra, a Liverpool player. Yeah, okay.
And the Liverpool players supported his racism.
Hold on.
Never forget that.
Hold on.
Supported his racism.
So maybe before we go to Julian, James, you have anything? I'm going to come back with Julian. James, you want to share any WTF moments in sports?
Yeah, well, definitely sticking with football. There was this moment that I came across with a guy named David Abraham, who was playing for Eintracht Frankfurt, and he impersonates a WWE move when he's going to pick up the ball that's gone out of bounds, and look at the boom! Right across the shoulder, puts him down on the ground, puts the manager of Freiburg right down on the ground. It looks like The Rock taking out Vince McMahon right there, and all the players.
You reckon he did that on purpose?
I think
he was just running.
50%. He's like, you better get out of the way. And then when he didn't get out of the way, he kind of clocked him. And I think the manager was kind of also like, well, why should I get out of the way? And and he gets a red card for it. I mean, I think they're both culpable. It's 50-50 in my book. I mean, I don't see why the player gets it, the manager doesn't.
Go back to it, Rick. Rick, go back to it. Let's analyze it.
Yeah, there you go. There. See,
all right. So,
get out of the way.
So he's just running. But he does give it a shoulder bod. He knew what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Both of them knew. Look at them. Look at that flop.
There you go. Yeah.
He's gone down like that. He's gone down that almost like Paul Alcock, who was the referee when Paolo Di Canio pushed him. It was like that exaggerated fall, you know?
It was like that time the Big Show took Triple H by the neck and threw him down on the mat. And Triple H was like, what the hell was that?
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
that's true.
That was the WWE moment there, definitely.
I don't think he should have gotten a red.
All right, anyway. I was going to say, that was my question. Do you reckon he should have got red carded?
No red card. I think they both get yellows, I think. Give them both yellows.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, but
legally speaking?
David, I think the Frankfurt game, David Abraham did get a red card. He got a red card.
He got a red. He's out.
He got a red. Yeah, should have been a red. To me, it's the correct decision.
But he's a lawyer. Of course, he's going to say he should have got a red. Lawyers are always like that, hard and fast. Get him off. Get him to jail.
I want to have my stamp on this game as a lawyer. So get out of the game. Just kidding.
You know what? If he gets a red card, he gets suspended. Then he need to engage a lawyer to defend him. So that it's only fair. It's only fair that we get involved.
Keeping lawyers employed through red cards. I like it.
It's all a ploy. It's all.
I look forward to the day when AI replaces a lot of you, mate.
But you know what? Even if AI replaces lawyer, we will be behind the AI planning the AI.
Yeah, true.
Well, but that was an incredible moment. It's strange. I don't know why he had to barge into the manager. You know what? I suspect, James, I was talking to you before the show. I suspect that the manager of the, as you know, he's the opposing manager. He must have been shouting some instructions which that player didn't like. There was something going on there.
I think they, you could hear the manager yelling in German. I don't know if David Abraham, I think he's English, right? So I don't know if he speaks German, but
I don't know who is here.
David Abraham is not okay.
No, you got some Germans called Abrahams.
Yeah, but there was one strange decision, and having a WWE moment. But there have been some moments like that, isn't it? Even there was once David Moyes and Roberto Mancini went face to face in a match. This Arsene Wenger and Mourinho, when they were.
Are you just naming managers here, Rick?
Yeah, they were.
Alex Ferguson.
We can't just talk about players. Is it? We must be fair. Even the managers were at it. Well, okay. So
Abraham was Argentinian, by the way. So I'm not sure he understood the German that was being yelled, but apparently the match was very contentious, very chippy. So it was kind of one of those moments.
That sort of rubbish happens when like you all be playing sports at some point in your life, and you make decisions that you probably wouldn't make in normal life.
Yeah.
I know I've made some shocking decisions on a football field, but
Well, the one smart thing my high school basketball coach ever did was, as soon as we got a foul on the court, as soon as we got the ball stolen from you, he would take you out of the game, because when you get the ball stolen from you or your shot blocked, you get a little bit like, and you almost 100% of the time you foul a guy immediately right after that.
That's very true.
Yeah,
that's a wise coach, actually. It's a wise coach.
That was the only thing. That coach chopped his finger off in a lawnmower trying to grab the grass out of it. He was just an idiot. The guy was an idiot. The one thing he ever did was that our captains actually gave him a toy lawnmower for the for the banquet that year, and everyone was like, "That's how much respect our captains of our team had for that coach." Anyway.
Moving on.
What about you, James? So what about you, Julian? Do you have anything else other than that Suarez incident?
I've got one more. I've probably got about 20 more, if I'm really honest with you. But the one that I thought I can't get in the middle of this picture was Cantona. That's all you need to say, and everyone that knows football knows what the hell I'm talking about. Eric Cantona, Kung Fu kick. Absolutely nuts. It was one of those, what the has he just done? If anyone remembers it, or if anyone doesn't know about it, Eric Cantona, at the time, kind of a controversial figure. He was called Le Sulk. He's had a really... if you just pause it for a second, Rick.
Oh, yes.
So, okay. Let me give you a bit of background. Cantona, French footballer, transferred from Leeds to Manchester United, and you very rarely get transfers between the two clubs because they hate each other. They're across a set of mountains called the Pennines in England, and it's like Lancashire, which is Man United, Yorkshire, which is Leeds. Don't get on very well. Anyway, long story short, amazingly bizarre transfer of Cantona. That Leeds had just won the Championship, the Premier League, and he transfers the following season to United. A lot of controversy around the guy. He'd been banned from French football. He'd been sent off lots and lots of times. Supremely talented player. I mean, the sort of player that you would pay to go and see. He was that talented. Anyway, he's basically been battered and beaten all day by the Crystal Palace player, Shaw, funnily enough. Here you just saw in stop-start animation, which we've been able to get from Rick's computer. But yeah, so we got stop-start animation showing that he'd just been sent off.
Hang on. Hang on, yeah?
We are hanging on, my friend. We are hanging on.
There you go. The Kung Fu kick.
So what he does, he's walking off the pitch behind the goal.
Let me repeat it. Let me repeat
it. You can't see what the hell's going on because it's all stop-start animation from what I can see. He goes it. He's there's a guy called Matthew, someone or other. I thought it was Harding, but no, he's the ex-Chelsea owner. But Matthew, someone or other, who basically shouts, "Your mother's a French, for want of a better word, whore." And that snapped from in Eric's brain, and he just dives in feet first. The most weirdest, craziest moment. And to be honest, I can kind of understand him. Anyone calls my mother that, I want to knock his bloody block off. And just because you're a football player, and just because let's put ourselves into Eric's world, right? He's been playing. He's an amazing player. He's got a talent coming out of every pore of his body. And this big clogger, Richard Shaw, is kicking him all day, and he's getting PO'd. He's getting really PO'd. So what does he do? He retaliates, gets sent off. So you feel hard done by, right? I don't know about you, but when you feel hard done by, I'm like, it just drives me crazy, right? So he's just been sent off. He's really annoyed. He really feels upset at the fact that he's been sent off, and that he's trying to do his job, and someone's stopping him do his job, and he's got sent off for retaliating. And then some little scrote says, "Your mother's a whore." I'm sorry. I would do exactly this. I honestly believe I would do the same. I would dive in feet first and knock that guy off his feet as much as I could. And forget you're a footballer. He's a human being, number one. And I think fans, we're all fans. And when a footballer does something stupid, well, oh, it's terrible. Oh, we'd never. You know what? Especially if a football player leaves your club that you support. Oh, why has he gone to that, Manchester City or Man United to get paid more money? He's just following money. Guess what? We all do that. You'd do that if you were from your employer. So people forget they're human beings. They're not automatons. They didn't set out to be a role model. They didn't set out to be Mr. Perfect to show the world what good human beings they are. They're human beings that are very good at football. And you may be very, very good at football, but you're a human being. And so what happens? You have emotions. What happens when someone calls your mother a whore? You dive in feet first. And he got banned for something like 6 months, which was ludicrously long, to be perfect, if you ask me. And I'm not a Man United fan by any stretch. I actually felt sorry for him. I think they won the title that year anyway, so it probably didn't matter too much.
I think they win, yeah.
But at the end of the day, shocking moment. But actually, I totally agree with it. I would do exactly the same.
Yeah, I think in the U.S. you're kind of almost taught. Not exactly. Coaches don't tell you this, but it's one of those unspoken things where if this happens to you on the way out, I like what he did on the way out, where he actually went after the guy who called him, called his mother the whore thing. Because if you can take somebody with you, if you're already out of the game, you can take somebody with you, especially if that player is halfway decent. In ice hockey, this happens all the time, but in pretty much any sport, is you're walking out, if you can maybe say something to somebody and they come off and they throw a punch, they're out as well. To me, that is, that's sportsmanship. That's gamesmanship right there.
Yeah,
because the guy already got him through trash talk to get upset and by being chippy. That's gamesmanship, So if you can reverse that and get somebody, to join you off the field, that certainly,
totally, yeah. But he went after a fan, which is slightly different. But I totally agree. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, sorry, didn't realize. Yeah. So he didn't feet first into another player. He went feet first into a fan. Guy in the stands. That's the crazy bit about it.
Okay. I see that. Okay. I think I've got one. Next time we do this, I've got an NBA equivalent of that. It's definitely scary. It's scary.
Was that Sprewell? Latrell Sprewell?
Ron Artest. Indiana Pacers.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Ron Artest. That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
But and there's an NHL version of that too. So I think you're proven that when fans yell at players, players sometimes do respond. Yeah, exactly. And I don't see why players have to sit there and get that abuse. Obviously,
yeah, exactly.
Kentona is out of the game for things that happen on the pitch, but and I think the kick, yeah, you don't have, just because you bought a ticket doesn't give you the right to yell whatever you want.
That's the thing. It's like, if he hadn't been sent off and he felt hard done to being sent off, and he heard that, you just look at him and shake your head and walk on, because you're not in that frame of mind of wanting to knock someone's block off. But he was in this frame of mind of wanting to knock someone's block off. Probably wouldn't have done until he just snapped in that moment.
Yeah.
Personally, I loved watching it. I know that's terrible, but I did enjoy it.
For a French guy, he really know how to kung fu kick lah. He must have some powerful Chinese friends.
Exactly. What about you, Rick? What about you, Rick? You must have a couple.
Yeah, I've got a few to share. We'll go back to James. Mine is, I'll start off with something local first. Not really WTF, but it was quite a sad moment. But I felt WTF. Let me explain the context. I don't have a video for it, but I'll just share a news about this. In 1994, we had about 100 of our football players who were arrested and detained for suspicion of match fixing. And then this is the news which came out in 2016, almost 20 years later, where the players were eventually, the bans were lifted. Now, some background, in 1989, the Malaysian Football League went into semi-pro. And as a young boy, I was watching all the football matches at the time. And it was a good moment for football. We were all happy about it. Stadiums were packed, were full. And I dare say the local league was more popular than any other European league which was on TV. So to suddenly realize that what we've been watching from 1989 to 1994, that a lot of the matches were fixed. Which would sometimes come, when we think back, we will explain why some of the games were ended in a very strange way. It was really a WTF moment for me when I was a boy at the time. I was at law school. I was like, what the hell, man? You mean all the while it was fake? And I dare say, guys, that because of what happened in 94, Malaysian football fans started to swing to European football. And just by coincidence, the Premier League exploded at the time, And Astro was broadcasting the matches live. And then that was it, And you know what happened? The Malaysian football standard just went down and down and down. It took almost 15, 20 years before we came back. And eventually, we finally, about 10 years ago, we finally won the Tiger Cup, or also known as the Suzuki Cup, the local Southeast Asian football. Yeah.
So Rick, are you saying that it's single-handedly Malaysian football's downfall that raised up English Football League?
I dare say that. To be fair, James, that the popularity of English Football League in Malaysia was always there. Malaysians by nature are very linked to English League simply because we are a former British colony. But in 1989 to 94, I can tell you guys that if you flip to the back pages of the sports newspapers, at least 6 to 8 pages were all about local football.
That's right,
and Premier League would have been in the 9th page at the back.
I totally think that your correlation between the Premier League and I won't say the demise of the Malaysian League, but the fall in popularity at that time. I know that's a fact just by you ask anyone. You're watching a football match in Malaysia with Malaysian friends, and something weird happens. Maybe a bad referee decision. Generally a bad referee decision. How many times have you heard the words, "Oh, must be fixed, lot, must be fixed"? I've never met an Englishman, God, say that, because in their brain, they're not thinking that it's a fix. Trust me, there probably was, but they're brought up not to think that, and it's never really been a huge thing in England, should we say?
Yeah.
But in Malaysia, because of what happened in '94, people assume that a bad decision from a referee is a fix. It's universal amongst Malaysians. All my good Malaysian buddies all say the same thing when they say a dodgy referee decision, and I reckon that probably stems from 94.
Yeah, it was sad, It was sad. James, were you working in Asia when this happened in '94? Were you working here already?
Yeah, I was. I was with a company called Spectrum, and we actually owned the rights in Indonesia to the Galatama, which is a professional league, and Galatama was sponsored by Kodak, and Dunhill, who sponsored this league here, the Malaysian league, came in the following year when they combined the Galatama with the amateur league, and they created the Indonesian Football League under Dunhill. That happened the year after. So Dunhill might have lost a bit of focus on Malaysia. They switched it to Indonesia and built that league up over the next couple of years, which really helped things in that market. But yeah, I think it's a shame that match fixing happens, but I'm glad that these guys got busted and that they were able to you take a knock on the chin for a year or two, but I think like you said, they came back and popularity is definitely back. There'll always be a little look when a referee makes a bad decision. I think that happens almost everywhere, even in the States. So you wonder, but I think you got to get those bad apples out of the sport and do your best to keep it as clean as you can. That's all you can do.
Yeah. that was my first. Just like you guys, I have many WTF moments in sports, but I thought being a local boy, Malaysian, let me try to raise something which really hurt Malaysian football. But James, you have anything else other than?
Yeah, I'd like to go home. I'd like to go back to my country. Talk a little bit about.
Yeah, we'd like you to go there too.
Talk a little bit about Armando Gallega. He was a young 21-year-old pitcher from Detroit Tigers, and he was about to throw a perfect game, which in baseball is almost impossible to do. Only 20 guys at this point in the history of baseball, out of hundreds of thousands of pitchers, only 20 had thrown a perfect game, and that means that perfect game means that you have retired every batter. You got every batter out in the order that they came up. So no hits, no walks, nothing. So right there, the play that you just saw was going to be the last out. So he would have had his perfect game. He was already celebrating, and the umpire calls him safe. Even the runner is like, I wasn't safe. Even the runner who was running down the baseline saw that he was safe and kind of holds his head and says, no, I don't want to take
a fix.
That's, you could argue, right? You could argue, but tell me what you think on the replay. When the replay comes up in just a second, if the runner's foot hits the bag before the ball comes into the glove of the guy,
there you go.
Let's have a look at it.
So the ball's coming here, and they'll show a closer look. They'll show a closer one, but right there, it looks like the runner's not on the bag yet.
Yeah,
looks like that's a perfect game. So they'll show another one here, another closer up one. So if the ball gets there first, it's perfect game. Is the ball there first? His foot?
Yeah.
Miles, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, strange, really strange.
Away from him. They took the perfect game away from him. That guy. Never had another perfect game in his whole career.
Oh, dude,
that was
how
a chance for him to have it.
How gutted would you be?
What would you do? Wouldn't maybe one of the other umpires would have seen it? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as though it's a close call.
Yeah.
That's just like the one that Rick had with Lampard's goal.
Yeah.
Later. Next one.
Oh, it's later. Oh, sorry.
But yeah, it's one of those things where the referee the umpire took away a piece of history, right? Took away something, inserted himself in the game a little bit too much, I think.
That actually, that is about the biggest moment we've had. For me, I didn't see this before. That's a shocker.
After the game, the umpire went up and apologized to the player. The player said, actually, he really appreciated that, but still, he wished that there's some way that he could take the call back.
I wouldn't appreciate it that much.
Yeah, I think the referee was the umpire.
Sorry, I just killed you. That's okay then. I
think this was all before the replay era, and I think some of these things are why the replay is there. The goal that we saw,
exactly.
The goal that we're about to see. Sorry, things like this are all added into. Let's just get it right. Even though human error is there and it's part of the game, everyone understands that. But in moments, let's just get it right. And I think that's. I'm glad we have replays.
But what's annoying by in soccer, if we move to soccer, you've got VAR, which is meant to get rid of these things. It just creates new problems. Don't get me wrong. I agree with VAR, and I think there's a number of countries and a number of sports that do it very, very well. The English Premier League doesn't. But it's all about debate, isn't it? I suppose that's why we love sports, debate. Now this is a cracker. Go on, Rick. Rick, are you there?
Yep. Yeah,
no goal. No goal. No goal. No goal. What is
Rick,
football?
Did you buy?
Everybody plays and the Germans win, or something like that, isn't it?
Rick, did you buy your computer from Aardman Animation? Because it's all very stop go at the moment.
No, I think it's the internet actually. It's quite clear on my side actually.
Right.
I think it's
when you're showing and also casting live, it's going to be a little jumpy.
Yeah,
unfortunately. So
that ball is over the line. That ball is over the line.
There's no doubt. No doubt. Even Germans will agree with that one.
But look at the keeper. The keeper's like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Well, I guess he wasn't looking at this point.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. That was my next WTF moment because I thought every one of us saw the goal. How can the referee and the linesman not see the goal? And if you look at the reaction of the players, the German players knew that he went in. But
they did. But hey, look, if you're going to get that slice of luck, that you'll take it.
Yeah,
you'll take it.
And this was the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, which, if you're an English fan, that was a very, very powerful midfield of Lampard, Gerrard, I think we had Paul Scholes there that year. I'm not sure whether Paul Scholes was there. But it was a really, really good team at the time,
No, he didn't play. He didn't play.
Did
you guys win the group that year?
No, mate, we were shocking. That was when Capello was the manager, and it was absolutely. We were shocking through it. We qualified, the best team in qualifying. Won all our games almost, I think it was, and everyone's expecting England to do really well. Capello manager, amazing squad at the time, and then Rio Ferdinand just before the finals gets injured, and that sort of everything fell apart from that. And they were stuck in a hotel in God knows where in South Africa. What happened was they just went to pieces. They were rubbish, absolutely rubbish. And Rick was saying earlier on, I'm pleased that I'm talking too much. Rick, it's a 2-1, wasn't it, at that time?
Oh yeah, it was 2-1 at the time. Yeah, had that goal gone in, it would have been 2-2. And I mean, for some reason, Lampard and Gerrard and the earlier days in Paul Scholes, though the three of them were very, very powerful midfielders in their club, but they couldn't play together.
Yeah,
they just couldn't play together.
That's one of the bizarre things about sport is when they're brilliant for your club, terrible for your country, or great for your country, terrible for your club. Like John Barnes was a great example of that. John Barnes, an amazing player, super player. But for England, he was shocking. Other than one goal he scored against Brazil 1 year, he was rubbish. And it used to really annoy me. And same with Peter Beardsley. Yeah, he was a great player. But then when he played for England, he was never that great.
Even Robbie Fowler.
I teed up you guys. And so do you remember who won the group that year in the England group?
If I'm not mistaken, it might have been some small country that has a really idiot president.
That's right. And I'm gonna in one of our future matches, we actually drew one of our future TV shows on the ball shows. I'm gonna bring up a clip from the England USA game where we should have actually beaten England, but
you should have done.
And anyway, but let's
James.
In second to.
But James, for me as an Evertonian, some of my favorite players are Americans. Tim Howard. Even though he came from
Max Moore, Brian McBride.
Yeah, Brian McBride, he was a really good striker. And then Landon Donovan, don't forget, even though he played for us for 2 months, I love him. He's a really good player.
Yeah, and, they play good. They play well with clubs, but they don't. Like you said, it's not always the automatic that when they come back together and play a team that they're going to do as well as they do with it's like the English players.
James, do you know what happened to that young? Well, he's not young anymore. This boy named Abedi Pele.
Hold on. Sorry, no, I don't know. Is he American?
I tell you. Are you thinking of Freddie Adu?
Oh, Freddie Adu. Sorry.
Abedi Pele was a great player for Ghana. He was a superb player.
Sorry, wrong player.
You're thinking of Freddie Adu.
He's still playing. Adu is still playing. He came on when he was like 19. He was going to be a big star. Played in Europe.
He was 16 when he came on the scene.
Right. Oh, that game. Oh, yeah. He never really materialized into it.
Yeah, he didn't.
Freddie Adu. In fact, his first big game, he was only 14. Yeah, you tried to Google through. He was 14. He was really good. And
he stopped eating.
Yeah. How many times have you seen that where someone is a wonder kid? Real Madrid generally sign them, or Barcelona generally sign them, and then they don't, because it's a mental attitude as well as I think also physical. You know, injuries take a toll, but mental. When you have too much too young, a lot of players just can't deal with it, or their bodies just don't develop. Their bodies don't develop in the way that you would expect them to develop. There's one thing about Mother Nature is it does a lot of things you don't expect.
Well, we had one really good young boy who was transferred to Man United, Wayne Rooney. You know, he was brilliant.
He turned out all right.
Yeah, he turned out all right. Yeah, but too bad. Even though he was for years playing for Man United, I always saw him as an Everton player. I know I'm the minority. Many Everton fans don't like him because he left the way he left Everton. But well, you know,
it's like we were saying before. It's like fans think, oh, he's a traitor and all this sort of thing. He's not. He's a human being. He loves Everton. He still loves Everton today. But he wanted to win trophies. It wasn't about money. He would have got paid just as well at Everton. But he wanted trophies. He's an ambitious young lad. Just give him a chance. You know, he wasn't going to win those at Everton, unfortunately. He's a pragmatist.
Enough about football. Thank you very much. I'm gonna call BS on this Everton chat right here. So
all right, go for it. Go for it.
Rick, anything else, Rick? Any other interesting? What the hell?
Well, there was the two things I want to share, but since we have a bit more time, can I just take you to this?
You had three, Rick.
Yeah, I got one more here. This really strange incident in the Olympics where we had players playing badminton and they wanted to lose. It was really, really strange. Yeah. So here's a clip of the game.
Is a huge sport in Asia. Just for people who are not aware, I mean, most people who are watching know that, but it's a huge sport in Asia, which is why it's part of the Olympics. It's just
start animation again.
Yeah,
so this is based on the BWF's rules. They the last match of the group round didn't really matter as much, and it was important in terms of who you're going to play in the quarterfinal round. So some of these players wanted to make sure that they played against other opponents in the quarterfinal round by losing on purpose their last match in the group. And sometimes both of the teams wanted to lose that match, so they would be matched up against the African participant in the quarterfinal who made it through. So they had these laughable matches.
Yeah, it was strange because I was quite lucky that day. I happened to be watching TV on that game, so I watched it for 5 minutes. I switched it on because I was wondering what was happening, and only the next day I realized, they were trying to lose, and that was bad, lah. I mean, you just don't do that. But you know, while I don't condone the players at all, they were absolutely wrong for doing that. But their coaches were wrong. It is obviously instructed by their coach and manager, and we've no disrespect to China. We know how they coach the players, and even the World Badminton Federation. They were inaccurate to come up with that format. You know, they should have created another format. Yeah. So
in fact, one of the things I was going to mention as one of my things that I was going to write was the nightmare in Gijón, 1982 World Cup. Austria and Germany played out a draw. Exactly the same thing that you just said, Rick, about the format of the tournament was. So basically, if either of them won, one of them would get knocked out. So what they did, instead of Austria and Germany getting knocked out, Algeria got knocked out.
Yeah,
because they conspired to get a draw, and it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. I remember seeing it at the time in '82.
And it was just a pure coincidence. Sorry,
go ahead, Rick.
No, I was about to say purely coincidence that Germany and Austria are neighbors.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
Now, after that flaw, I mean, the BWF should have seen the flaw in that basic way of having group matches moving towards it, because there are ways to guard against that, which they have implemented since then. But I think even in of the Tiger Cup or the Suzuki Cup, also there was Indonesia against somebody. They did the same thing, you know. So I think whenever you use that specific tournament structure,
format,
you could theoretically have matches like this. And So you, as an organizer, you gotta put in the the kind of the fail proofs that require everyone to play at the same time, or have different elements that don't allow for these crazy games to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I got to applaud FIFA in the last two World Cups. They have amended the format that even the team which finished third in the table can still qualify to the knockout. So even at the last game, teams still have something to play for. So
Yeah.
some teams, they may have lost the first two games, but for some reason won the third game, may end up still going to the knockout. So it gave the team an impetus to play. So that was actually a good idea from FIFA. It worked for football. Yeah. And talking about that, if I can just bring, I don't have a video here, but some of the incredible moments in basketball are those where the player from his side of the court throws the ball and it goes into the basket. It happens almost every season, at least 3-4 times. And that's incredible.
We call them buzzer beaters. I mean, players practice that. It's something that you practice. When practice is over, you practice half court shots, 3/4 court shots. Everyone sits around and tries, 5 or 10 times. You spend an extra half an hour after practice. The coach doesn't mind that you practice that. So it's not something that, well, they never even tried, or, obviously it's a very low percentage shot, but it's something that people do practice. And if you go to an NBA game early, you'll see NBA players trying it before the game.
Yeah.
And so it's something that is not as off the wall as you might think, but yeah, it's certainly exciting for people who don't play basketball or don't watch a lot of basketball. It's definitely
really that's a good
cool.
point. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's true.
Well, it is 3 points if you get it. So it's a good risk to take, isn't it? Like you say, buzzer beater.
I think they should implement, like, anything beyond half court should be a 4-point shot.
Yeah.
And why not? Because it's so far away. I mean, 3 points is what, 23 feet. There's a circle that goes around each end of the court, and if you throw it from the opposite circle, why shouldn't you get an extra point?
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it can really change at the end of games. You're down by 4, you have really no chance, even if you hit a 3-pointer. But if you hit a half-court shot, that kind of gives you an impetus to try and throw the ball back. You get a half-court shot and maybe tie it up from 4 points. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a crazy idea.
Well, sports is all about crazy ideas. Yeah. Like the Redskins is a classic one. That's a crazy idea. Redskins has been known as Redskins for the longest time, and they want to change the name. That's so weird, man. But saying that, Julian, can you remember the time when Cardiff came up to the Premier League, and the owner, who's a Malaysian, decided to change the color from blue to red? That was strange.
Vincent Tan, I seem to remember.
And they were blue for how many years? Or they were that same color for
100 years.
100 years. Yeah, 100 years. They're called Bluebirds.
Something like that. Yeah, exactly. They were called the Bluebirds, of all things. And because obviously red is a very lucky color in China, well, in Asia, I should say, and with Vincent Tan being a Chinese gentleman, it was, it's part of his culture that red is very, very lucky. So we've had a lot of bad luck. Let's play in red, see if we get some better luck. And I can see why he thinks that. Makes a certain level of sense if you're Vincent Tan. Unfortunately, it hadn't quite worked out that maybe there might be a few supporters that don't necessarily buy into that one. Yeah. So surprising enough, the next season they were back in blue.
And then they got relegated immediately. They got relegated wearing red.
Maybe in a way,
they would have got relegated playing blue as well. But hey,
maybe not their home kit. If they would have been like an away kit or a neutral kit, the home kit, man, come on, you don't mess with that.
It wasn't the wisest of moves.
That would have been a good discussion last week when we had our discussion about the kids. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost 12 o'clock. Just like that, we've hit 1 hour. And today's episode, if I can summarize it, was just the 3 of us. See, what we do, ladies and gentlemen, is that we will 3 of us will discuss and then have a punch up on WhatsApp, and then as usual, Rigby Rigby will come and save the day and stop them, and then
Yeah, you were curiously absent. Don't remotely say you were there.
yeah. So by being absent quietly, I allow you to calm down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sensei.
So, but
Thanks, Rick. We really appreciate it, mate.
I love you too. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We just we always were wondering how these decisions came about. So we thought we'll have an episode about this. Watch out for our next episode next week. James, Julian,
Hey, Rick.
anything you want to say?
Other than, hey, Rick, can we stick this as a podcast, I think, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and things like that? How do we do that? We should do
Well,
it.
I think we need to download the recording and then get the sound bite, and then we will try to upload. I'm using Anchor FM in my law firm, so maybe we can try Anchor FM. And from Anchor FM, it goes to Spotify and Google Play, blah, blah, blah. We'll try.
Cool.
Can be
Yeah,
done.
we should give it a go. We
James,
want lots of people listening to our absolute rubbish.
No, I'll just like to thank everyone for tuning in, and thank you guys as always. A lot of fun. And shall I play us out?
Sure.
Please do.
All yours.
All right,
All right,
guys.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'll see you next week, same day, same time on this same Facebook page, 11 o'clock. See you next week for episode 4. Okay, bye.